In the digital age, success is measured in hearts, views, and fleeting applause. But curated images have replaced real achievements, and validation has replaced clarity. Online, you can look wealthy without owning anything at all. Digital status is an illusion we willingly participate in. Chapter 5. Digital status, likes, validation, and the illusion of success. Success measured in engagement. In the digital world, success has been redefined. It is no longer measured only by personal growth, meaningful work, or lasting achievement. Increasingly, it is measured by engagement, likes, comments, shares, views, and followers. These metrics, though intangible and often fleeting, have become powerful signals of social value. They create the illusion of accomplishment and influence, tempting people to tie their self-worth to a number that can rise or fall in an instant. This shift in how success is measured has profound emotional and financial consequences, shaping decisions in ways that are often subtle but deeply impactful. The appeal of engagement lies in its immediacy. Traditional forms of success require time, patience, and consistent effort. Digital validation, however, delivers instant feedback. A single post can generate attention, admiration, or approval within minutes. This speed is intoxicating. It satisfies the human need for recognition in a way that feels effortless. The mind interprets engagement as a form of progress, even when no real progress has occurred. It confuses visibility with achievement, attention with influence, and reaction with value. Because engagement feels like success, people begin to pursue it intentionally. They tailor their behavior, appearances, and experiences to maximize reactions. They invest in aesthetics, trends, and online presence, believing that increased engagement reflects increased significance. Financial decisions follow this emotional logic. Individuals spend money not on what enriches their lives, but on what enhances their digital image. The motivation is not material comfort, but social visibility. This can lead to unnecessary expenses, luxury items, curated outings, and lifestyle enhancements designed more for the screen than for real fulfillment. The danger is that engagement metrics are inherently unstable. They fluctuate based on algorithms, trends, and the attention cycles of others. Building one's sense of worth on engagement is like building a home on shifting sand. A post that performs well creates a feeling of validation. One that performs poorly triggers doubt or insecurity. The emotional roller coaster becomes exhausting, and the compulsion to maintain digital relevance grows stronger. People begin chasing engagement as if it were proof of their identity, losing sight of their true goals and values in the process. Financially, this pursuit can lead to impractical commitments. Individuals may upgrade devices, wardrobes, or environments to maintain a certain standard of online presentation. They may overspend on experiences that photograph well, but add little to their long-term well-being. The desire for engagement becomes a silent drain on their resources, diverting money away from stability and toward impression. Over time, this reduces financial resilience, making it more difficult to invest, save, or pursue meaningful opportunities. Emotionally, measuring success through engagement creates dependency. It turns external validation into a psychological need. Instead of asking, "Am I growing?" people ask, "Is anyone noticing?" Instead of evaluating their path by its alignment with their values, they evaluate it by its popularity. This external orientation weakens confidence and makes individuals more reactive. They adjust their choices based on how they will be perceived rather than how they will impact their lives. Another consequence is that true accomplishment becomes overshadowed. When engagement becomes the metric for success, quieter forms of progress, discipline, learning, financial responsibility, personal development, lose their emotional reward. These actions, though essential for long-term growth, do not generate instant recognition. As a result, individuals may undervalue them and prioritize activities that create visible reactions. The foundation of real success begins to erode. Breaking free from this illusion requires redefining success in personal terms. Engagement can be enjoyable, but it should not be the measure of identity, worth, or progress. True success is often quiet. It grows behind the scenes, away from public attention, through consistent effort and thoughtful decisions. It is built in private long before it becomes visible, if it ever does. This book will continue guiding you toward that perspective. By understanding how engagement distorts success, you gain the ability to reclaim your focus, your financial clarity, and your emotional independence. You begin to measure your life not by reactions but by purpose, and that shift creates a foundation stronger than any number on a screen could ever provide. How Instagram and TikTok redefined what it means to have money. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok have done more than shape trends or entertainment. They have fundamentally changed the way society perceives wealth. In the past, financial success was understood through substance, stability, security, long-term planning, and the quiet accumulation of assets. Today, however, digital status has redefined the meaning of having money. It is now measured through visibility, aesthetics, and lifestyle displays, often detached from financial reality. These platforms have shifted the emphasis from genuine prosperity to curated prosperity, influencing how people judge themselves and how they make financial decisions. Instagram and TikTok thrive on moments that can be captured, edited, and shared. Wealth in this context becomes performative. It is not about what someone owns privately, but about what they can display publicly. A luxury vacation, a designer outfit, a high-end gadget, or a lavish meal becomes a symbol of success, not because it improves quality of life, but because it appears impressive within a digital frame. This transformation places immense pressure on individuals to create a life that looks prosperous, even if the financial reality beneath the surface is fragile. These platforms also reward visibility over authenticity. The more extravagant or polished a moment appears, the more engagement it receives. As a result, users associate high engagement with high status. This encourages people to showcase consumption rather than stability. Savings accounts, responsible budgeting, emergency funds, or long-term investments cannot be photographed in a way that captures attention. But luxury purchases can, and do. The message becomes clear. Visible spending is more celebrated than invisible financial wisdom. The redefinition of wealth is further reinforced by influencers. Many create content based on aspirational lifestyles, perfect travel scenes, brand partnerships, and curated routines. For viewers, these images can become benchmarks for what success should look like. But what is rarely shown are the financial arrangements behind the scenes: sponsored trips, borrowed items, credit-funded purchases, or staged environments. The illusion of effortless wealth is compelling, but it is not a reliable reflection of the influencer's financial reality. This disconnect shapes the way people interpret their own success. They begin to believe that having money means having the ability to display a luxurious, adventurous, or aesthetically impressive life online. This belief encourages spending patterns that mirror those images. Individuals may prioritize appearance over stability, diverting money toward experiences or items that can be shared publicly, instead of toward financial goals that provide long-term security. The result is a growing gap between digital prosperity and actual prosperity. The emotional impact is significant. When wealth is defined by what others display, many people feel inadequate, even when they are financially responsible. They may earn well, save consistently, and build a strong foundation, yet feel unsuccessful because their lifestyle does not resemble the curated scenes they see online. This emotional misalignment creates frustration and insecurity, which can lead to impulse buying, lifestyle inflation, or unnecessary debt, all in an attempt to feel closer to the digital standard of wealth. Financially, the consequences are profound. The pressure to maintain an online image can influence spending habits in ways that undermine true stability. People may invest in appearances rather than assets, prioritizing what looks valuable rather than what actually is valuable. This shift makes it difficult to build long-term wealth because resources are continually redirected towards short-lived digital validation. To reclaim a healthy perspective, it is essential to distinguish between real wealth and digital status. Real wealth grows quietly. It comes from disciplined habits, wise decisions, and a long-term mindset. It is not always visible, and it does not need to be. Digital status, on the other hand, is loud, immediate, and often unrooted in financial reality. Confusing the two leads to emotional and financial strain. This book will help you rebuild that clarity. By understanding how platforms like Instagram and TikTok have redefined what it means to have money, you can free yourself from the pressure to display success and begin focusing on building the kind of wealth that truly supports your life, your stability, and your future. Showing versus building. In the age of digital visibility, a profound shift has occurred in how people approach success. Instead of focusing on building a strong financial and personal foundation, many focus on showing progress, sometimes long before that progress truly exists. The line between authentic growth and the display of growth has become blurred. This distinction matters because showing and building lead to entirely different outcomes. One produces stability, resilience, and long-term fulfillment. The other produces short-lived validation, ongoing pressure, and financial vulnerability. Showing is outward. It seeks attention, recognition, or admiration. It prioritizes visibility over substance and often relies on carefully curated moments rather than genuine progress. Building, by contrast, is inward. It is shaped by discipline, consistency, patience, and clarity. It prioritizes foundation over appearance and focuses on results that may not be visible to anyone else. Social media amplifies the appeal of showing because it offers immediate feedback, an emotional reward that building does not provide in the early stages. The digital world encourages people to highlight the symbols of success rather than the process behind it. A new purchase, a luxurious experience, or an impressive announcement captures attention instantly. These moments feel significant because they are easily celebrated by others. But building success, the real kind, happens quietly. It takes place in decisions others never see. Budgeting, learning, saving, investing, planning, and persisting. These actions rarely attract public applause. They do not create viral moments, yet they are the ones that shape a life with genuine stability. The danger of prioritizing showing over building is that the appearance of progress begins to feel like progress itself. People become emotionally satisfied with the impression of success, reducing their motivation to do the actual work required to achieve it. Instead of strengthening their financial foundation, they invest in symbols that only simulate advancement. Over time, this pattern leads to a fragile life, one that looks polished but is vulnerable beneath the surface. Financially, the consequences are clear. Showing often requires spending, sometimes significant spending. People buy items, experiences, or upgrades that enhance their image but weaken their stability. They may stretch their budget, accumulate debt, or sacrifice long-term goals to maintain the illusion of progress. Building, on the other hand, requires sacrifice of a different kind, the sacrifice of immediate gratification. It prioritizes future security over present visibility. While showing consumes resources, building grows them. Emotionally, the contrast is just as significant. Showing creates dependency on external validation. When progress is measured by reactions, the absence of engagement can trigger doubt or insecurity. The individual becomes trapped in a cycle where their sense of worth depends on how others respond. Building offers a different emotional experience. It cultivates confidence from within. Each small private achievement strengthens self-respect. The reward is slower, but far more enduring, because it comes from personal integrity rather than public approval. Showing also creates pressure to maintain an image. Once someone begins displaying a certain lifestyle or level of success, they may feel compelled to continue, even if their financial situation changes. This obligation becomes a silent burden. Building frees a person from that pressure. When success is internal, it does not need to be performed. It can grow at its own pace without fear of judgment. Ultimately, showing is about impression. Building is about transformation. Showing focuses on how life appears. Building focuses on how life actually functions. One is a performance, the other is a foundation. One drains energy, the other creates it. One fades quickly, the other compounds over time. This book will continue guiding you toward the strength that comes from building. By understanding the difference between showing and building, you can choose a path that leads not to superficial validation, but to genuine success, quiet, steady, and enduring. The highlight reel effect. Digital platforms have transformed how we view other people's lives by presenting only a fraction of their experiences, the most polished, exciting, successful fraction. This phenomenon, often called the highlight reel effect, has reshaped our understanding of what normal life looks like. It creates the illusion that others are constantly thriving, celebrating, traveling, achieving, or enjoying moments of beauty, ease, and luxury. Because these moments dominate our screens, they become the standard we compare ourselves against. Yet they are not reality. They are curated selections designed to capture attention. At its core, the highlight reel effect is a distortion. It compresses the complexity of a person's life into a series of exceptional snapshots. Moments of struggle, insecurity, discipline, sacrifice, and boredom, the universal human experiences, rarely make an appearance. Instead, what we see are the high points, accomplishments, celebrations, purchases, and picturesque scenes. The mind quickly forgets that these are moments, not a complete story. It assumes that what is shown is what is constant. This assumption quietly shapes our perception of what life should look like. The emotional impact is profound. When we compare our everyday life to someone else's highlight reel, we naturally feel inadequate. Our daily routines, responsibilities, and quiet efforts seem unremarkable by comparison. Even our genuine achievements can feel small when placed next to someone else's most impressive moment. This comparison does not reflect truth. It reflects a distorted perspective created through selective visibility. Yet because it feels real, it influences how we judge ourselves and how we evaluate our progress. Financial behavior is deeply affected by this distortion. The highlight reel effect encourages individuals to replicate the moments they see online, not because these moments align with their values, but because they appear to be the norm. People begin to believe that luxury, travel, dining, and constant celebration are standard components of a successful life. They then stretch their finances to match these images, using spending to generate their own highlight moments for display. The result is lifestyle inflation driven not by genuine desire, but by the pressure to participate in the digital performance of success. This dynamic creates a cycle in which people feel obligated to generate content that reflects prosperity, even if doing so compromises their financial stability. Experiences are chosen for how they will appear, rather than how meaningful they are. Purchases are evaluated not by their usefulness, but by their ability to signal status. The highlight reel effect turns life into a stage, encouraging consumption as a form of participation. Individuals become spectators of their own lives, directing their financial decisions toward image rather than substance. The highlight reel effect also affects emotional resilience. When challenges arise, as they do in every life, they feel heavier because they are rarely seen reflected in others. This leads to a harmful misconception that struggle is abnormal. People begin to believe they are falling behind, making mistakes, or failing simply because their experiences do not resemble the constant positivity they see online. In truth, their struggle is normal. It is simply hidden beneath the surface of others' curated displays. Recognizing the highlight reel effect allows us to regain emotional balance. It reminds us that what we see online is not a complete portrayal of anyone's journey. Every achievement we witness is accompanied by unseen effort. Every moment of beauty is balanced by unseen challenges. Every symbol of luxury may be offset by unseen debt or stress. When we understand this, comparison loses its power, and financial decisions become clearer and more grounded. The antidote is intentional awareness. When confronted with highlight reels, pause and remember that what is hidden is just as significant as what is shown. Replace comparison with curiosity and admiration with perspective. Ask not, "Why is my life not like that?" but "What is the full story I cannot see?" This book will continue guiding you toward that clarity. By understanding the highlight reel effect, you gain the emotional strength to navigate a digital world without allowing illusion to shape your self-worth or your financial decisions. You step out of performance and back into authenticity, a place where real success is built, not displayed. The culture of borrowed luxury. In the digital age, luxury is no longer something people must truly own to display. Increasingly, it is borrowed, staged, or temporarily accessed for the sake of appearance. This phenomenon, what we can call the culture of borrowed luxury, has become a defining feature of online status. It allows people to project a lifestyle far beyond their financial reality, using short-lived experiences, rented items, or curated environments to signal wealth that does not actually exist. At first, this may seem harmless, even playful, but its emotional and financial consequences run far deeper than the surface suggests. Borrowed luxury takes many forms. It can be a rented car photographed for social media, a borrowed designer outfit worn for a single event, or a luxury trip funded through credit rather than savings. It can be a stay at an upscale hotel booked solely for content, or a high-end product purchased with the intention of returning it after a post has been shared. These actions are driven not by genuine desire for the experience itself, but by the need to signal belonging within a digital hierarchy of prestige. The goal is validation, not fulfillment. The appeal of borrowed luxury lies in its immediacy. It offers the emotional satisfaction of appearing successful, without the long-term effort required to build that success. It compresses years of discipline, learning, and financial stability into a single moment of visible glamour. For the viewer, this moment is interpreted as evidence of prosperity. For the person displaying it, it becomes a temporary escape from their own uncertainties. Yet the illusion is fragile. As soon as the moment ends, the reality remains unchanged, sometimes even worsened by the financial strain used to create it. Emotionally, the culture of borrowed luxury creates a dangerous feedback loop. When individuals receive admiration for displays that are not grounded in truth, they learn to associate validation with illusion. This encourages them to repeat the behavior, each time investing more into appearances while neglecting the foundations of real security. Instead of developing confidence through personal growth, they become dependent on the reactions of others to feel valuable. This emotional dependency weakens resilience and makes individuals more vulnerable to comparison, insecurity, and impulsive decisions. Financially, the consequences are significant. Borrowed luxury often relies on debt, credit cards, loans, or installment plans that create long-term obligations. What begins as a single indulgence can evolve into a pattern that erodes financial stability. People may convince themselves that these purchases are harmless because they provide social recognition, yet every borrowed symbol of luxury becomes a future payment, diverting money away from savings, investment, or essential needs. Over time, the cost of maintaining the illusion becomes heavier than the illusion itself. The culture of borrowed luxury also distorts society's understanding of wealth. Because so many people display luxury that is not truly theirs, observers assume that affluence is more common than it actually is. This inflates expectations and intensifies comparison. It leads people to feel behind even when they are making responsible choices. It also encourages others to adopt the same behavior, expanding the culture and deepening its impact. What emerges is a community where many individuals are performing prosperity, yet few are building it. The consequences extend into identity as well. When someone repeatedly borrows luxury to shape how they are perceived, they risk losing connection to their authentic values. Their sense of self becomes intertwined with an image that does not reflect their reality. This internal conflict between who they are and who they display creates emotional strain. Confidence weakens, clarity fades, and decisions become reactive rather than intentional. The person becomes trapped not by the lack of luxury, but by the need to appear affluent. Breaking free from the culture of borrowed luxury requires redefining what it means to live well. Real comfort comes not from temporary displays, but from long-term stability. Real confidence comes not from presentation, but from progress. Real wealth grows quietly, without the need for public acknowledgement. When individuals shift their focus from borrowed appearances to authentic growth, they regain control of their financial lives and emotional well-being. This book will continue guiding you toward that shift. By understanding the culture of borrowed luxury, you gain the clarity to resist the pressure of performance and to build a life rooted in truth, one where success is not staged, but earned with intention and integrity. Digital detox for your financial health. One of the most underestimated financial strategies of modern life has nothing to do with budgeting, investing, or earning more. It begins with reducing the constant digital stimulation that distorts our perception of reality. A digital detox is often viewed as a break for emotional well-being, but it is equally essential for financial health. When we disconnect from the online environment that encourages comparison, consumption, and performance, we gain clarity that directly influences how we use our money, how we define success, and how we make long-term decisions. The need for a digital detox arises from the psychological pressure created by constant exposure to curated lives. Every scroll introduces us to new temptations, luxury purchases, trending experiences, and lifestyles that appear effortless. Even when we do not consciously compare ourselves, the mind absorbs these images. They shape what we believe is normal, what we feel we should be doing, and what we think we need to buy in order to belong. This silent influence increases spending impulses and weakens financial discipline. A digital detox interrupts this cycle. By intentionally stepping away from the environment that fuels aspirational consumption, we give ourselves space to evaluate what we truly want versus what we have been conditioned to want. Without the constant presence of digital comparison, desires become simpler and more authentic. The urge to impress diminishes, replaced by a more grounded sense of personal purpose. This shift has a direct impact on spending. Choices become aligned with values rather than emotions. Financial clarity also improves when we reduce digital noise. Many people struggle to maintain long-term financial habits, not because they lack discipline, but because they are continually exposed to distractions that pull their attention away from their goals. A digital detox restores mental focus. It creates the space needed to reflect on priorities, plan ahead, and make thoughtful decisions without the emotional interference of online influence. This clarity strengthens patience, the foundation of financial resilience. Another benefit is the restoration of emotional balance. When people constantly observe others' highlight reels, their own progress feels insufficient. This emotional discomfort often triggers reactive spending, buying something to feel better, to feel included, or to feel accomplished. A digital detox reduces this emotional volatility. It grounds individuals in their own journey, helping them appreciate the steps they are taking, however gradual they may be. With less emotional pressure, financial decisions become calmer, more deliberate, and less driven by insecurity. A digital detox also reveals how much time and energy social media consumes, resources that could be directed toward activities that genuinely support financial health. When individuals step away from digital platforms, they often rediscover interests, projects, or skills that had been overshadowed by online engagement. They begin to invest their time in learning, personal development, or creative pursuits that contribute to long-term growth. This reallocation of attention strengthens the foundation for future success. Importantly, a digital detox is not about rejecting technology. It is about using it intentionally. It means creating boundaries around digital consumption, checking platforms less frequently, curating who we follow, removing sources of pressure, or designating device-free moments during the day. These small choices accumulate into a more peaceful and focused mindset. They protect the financial decisions that matter most from the emotional turbulence of digital comparison. Ultimately, a digital detox is an act of self-protection. It shields your financial life from the subtle but powerful influence of aspiration-driven content. It restores your capacity to think clearly, to choose intentionally, and to appreciate your own progress without the distortion of external noise. It helps you build a financial future based on your own values rather than someone else's performance. This book will continue guiding you toward that intentionality. By understanding the importance of a digital detox for your financial health, you gain the ability to create space for genuine growth, free from comparison, free from pressure, and free from the illusion that success must always be displayed to be real. If you believe this chapter could help someone, feel free to share it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe. Your support truly helps us keep creating more content like this.